right, we'll go ahead and get started. This is we're calling this a special business meeting for for a very specific purpose. So as we get started with that, I don't know if everybody realizes it, but it's 5/22/22. Did everybody know that today? May 22nd of 2022. So, why? Well, I thought, special days for him and Jerry. They remember, never forget. 5/22/22, you got to have those special moments, right? So as we open the special business meeting this morning at 9:44, the two pieces of business on the table are Keoki with the call of priest and Jerry with the call of deacon. And so what I'd like to do is start out and... Don? We're yeah. Okay. So one of the things that one of the things I'd like to do is start off with the testimonies of, and we're going to do them one-on-one. I thought about this quite a bit. I'd like to do the first one. We'll have Jerry bear his testimony, and then any supporting testimonies of the call or the ministry or whatever you have, and then we'll work with. Then we'll start with, then we'll go with Keoki. Same thing. Then we'll get into the voting side of it. Okay. Now it's very important. Remember, we're live streaming this. I suspect your family might be watching.
I think they are. Yeah.
So if they are, please use your microphone, and if you just take a moment right now, just ensure that they're turned on. Okay, maybe, yeah, I was going to say there's two up here. Here, no, got it. One of them's very loud, apparently. All right. Okay, well, let's start with Jerry. Jerry, could you stand and give your testimony and wherever you feel most comfortable?
I have to go back quite a ways. When I was baptized, I got the impression to read the scriptures. And I started reading the scriptures, but because my dad was against the church at that time, my mom would not help me with understanding what I was reading. So I gave up. Then a few years later, the Lord actually spoke to me. I don't know if it was the Lord or an angel. And it was a voice that I absolutely could not determine where it came from. I won't tell you anything about that, but then when I had my patriotic blessing when I was probably about 19, I was asked to be a minister of the church, and I turned them down because I didn't think I wanted that. Then after Dad became a minister and went through his life and passed away, I decided I wanted to be a minister. But I didn't know what to do about that. So when Terry approached me the other day and told me that I'd been called out as a deacon, I accepted it right off the bat.
Okay. That's good. Very good. Or do we have supporting testimonies of Jerry's call?
Sure.
Terry?
Do I need to stand up or can I sit down?
Well, I would like you to stand so everybody at home can see,
As I was studying one day, reading some scriptures, the thoughts came to me about priesthood calls within the church. And, it really wasn't specific, so I thought, well, maybe I should pray about it and then it would be enlightened to me. And as I did that, not immediately, but in the time to come, it was brought to my heart and mind that Jerry had a call. And that call was to the office of deacon. And, Jerry and I go back a lot of years. He may not remember this, but I remember him when we were in Zion's League back in high school. High school, a long time ago. He was at a different branch, but, sometimes the branches got together and we would have activities. Anyway, Jerry and I go back a long ways. But since I've come back to the Omaha area and became a member of this church, I've watched Jerry, and Jerry has grown, just like many of us have. He has grown in the scriptures. He's grown in the care of the people in the building, and many things that are done that are not even noticed. But I know that Jerry's spirit and his heart are in the right place. He's going to be a tremendous asset to this particular branch and to us through his ministry, whatever that may be. So I would ask that you would consider Jerry and his office of calling of the deacon.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I have for a long time felt that Jerry had a priesthood call, and it was warm weather, and we were here, so I don't know, summer, fall, but anyway, we had a prayer meeting, and Mark was gone, and there were no priesthood came, and it was Jerry and Blanche and I, and Jerry came, and the Spirit just flowed over him. He had a scripture on his heart. He read it. He expounded upon it. He led us in prayer and testimony. And it just confirmed to me that he had that calling. And so I'm more than supportive.
Very good. Thank you, Julie. Would there be others? Oh, Bruce?
I've been privileged to be in the same class with Jerry many times, and I've been impressed with his scriptural understanding and the wisdom with which he spoke, and it's no surprise to me that he has been called into the priesthood.
Thank you, Bruce. Mark?
Going around here so it doesn't echo. I just wanted to stand and bear my testimony as well. I've known for years too in that I would just call it a burning of the bosom knowledge that he had a call to the office of deacon specifically, and so I'm glad that the timing has come and the day is here.
Okay, very good. Others? Okay. Oh,
I'd just like to add that in the short time I've known Jerry, minus the time he was sick, he's always here for everything. And his attendance and diligence and attitude are just very inspiring. And so I also support Jerry.
very good. Okay. Any others? Got a chance to share your testimony or your thoughts? And so, okay. What we'll do then, we'll move to Keoki, and then at the end we'll have a vote, unless of course somebody just adamantly says absolutely no way. but we'll have a vote on both of them. So Keoki?
Well, I also have to start a long time ago, and I don't like doing anything without some notes, but Mark said don't sort of, I guess this is letting the Spirit kind of guide me. Like in court, I even write my name down just so I don't mess it up. But if my mother was here, she had a testimony when she was in Hawaii. She was 13 years old, and the high priest visited and told her she would have a son in the priesthood. You have to ask her, because I'm probably getting the words wrong a little bit. But I thought she was going to be here, but they were sick. So I've always felt this, that's what I wanted. I always felt, you know, but with in the 80s, when the church, you know, we didn't really have a church, so I didn't know how this was going to happen. And, you know, you just don't know. And, but the biggest influence in my life was, spiritually, was my grandfather, who was a priesthood member in the RLDS church, and influenced the twins that you guys get to experience. And he's just all, you know, we always looked up to him. And I guess some of the testimony, sorry, I guess I'll back up. When Brian was gone and I was gone, and so we were missing each other, talking about this. But I had signed up to go to the Huron priesthood retreat with Mark, just to go, because I wanted to meet other saints down in Kansas City. You know, we're kind of up here by ourselves, and talking with Mark. He's like, do you know this guy? Do you know this guy? And I'm like, no, I don't. So I wanted to go. Mark asked them, do you mind if Keoki comes, because he's not a priesthood member? They were like, no, that's fine. Well, the Tuesday before we left was when I got the call from Brian. And I was down there, and, you know, there's some insecurities about this being in the priesthood. But when I was down there, it was like the Lord was speaking to me in all of the classes, specifically some of the things I need to hear, I need to work on. Because I see all you guys, and it's intimidating how well you know the scriptures, how great speakers you are. And I think Brian maybe heard some of that hesitation when he was talking to me on the phone. So, you know, with that testimony, I was kind of like, well, my mom and maybe even Mark has better testimony for my calling. But when I was driving over here this morning, as I told you how big of an influence my grandfather was, my mom was like, oh, is the business meeting going to be streamed? And, you know, I was like, I'm not sure. I assume so. But my mother told me I was turning right by the Canes, and my mother said, today is my grandfather's birthday. And
That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, some of these things you just can't, it's, you know, you
Yeah.
just can't explain it. So, yeah, thank you.
All right, very good. All right, here, Mark, you have some batteries back there for us? Can you pass that back? Okay, next, Bruce?
There we go. They work better when they're on, don't they? When I got back from my extended vacation back in, when did I get back? April? Something like that. Brian had asked me if I'd heard about the callings and stuff, and I said, yeah, and I says, I can't say anything against them, but I really don't have a confirmation. And then I started working with both these guys, but didn't say anything about Jerry because I've known for a long time about him, in a good way. But with Keoki, you know, not really knowing him all that well, only had met him a couple times over at the Y, I think. But I came in to help with the KBM program, and if you haven't helped with that, you're missing a wonderful opportunity. But I started getting to know him. But the first thing I was impressed with was this presence, this calm presence that he presented, but yet there was an energy and enthusiasm behind it, and a desire. And then within a couple of weeks, there was a connection that I had with him that just absolutely confirmed to me that this is a man that needs to be doing the work in the priesthood. His concerns, I shared with him, the same ones I still have, but the concerns, the humility he presents himself with, I honestly think that this is the first step into even greater things for him. I know of a surety that this is a valid calling.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Mark?
So when I first shook hands with Keoki back at the center, I knew that he had a priesthood call. I wasn't aware of which office, however, and it'd been a matter of prayer for me from that moment. And as time went on, we've developed our friendship and talked quite regularly. And well, it was about maybe 6 months or so ago now. We were chatting, and mind you, this whole time I've been praying about which office his callings to. And he was talking about his practice, and his background is more with minerals, property things. And since coming here, he's kind of continued doing that, but he's transitioned to helping out with family law. And he was telling me about that, and in his and he'll probably talk about it at some point, but he feels that that's part of his calling, is to help families, to help them, because they're obviously in bad situations if they're going to an attorney for family law. And he just feels that that was a way that he could fulfill his calling. So as he was sharing this with me, the Spirit spoke to me to where I couldn't deny it, and saying, and there is the confirmation to his calling to the Aaronic order, the office of priest. And so I've been convinced of that ever since, and I'm glad that there's testimony to support that.
Any other? We'll go, John. You got it.
I would concur with Jerry's as well as Keoki's. Priesthood has come somewhat involved in lineage, father to son, and I know Lloyd is rejoicing this morning, and I know your earthly father back in Clarinda, and your grandfather, but most importantly, our heavenly Father is rejoicing, because that lineage is carried on through your men, your gifts, and your talents. I too have seen kind of a turnaround or a quick growth in Keoki's instance, in that you can sense he is a man of God and concerned about people. Wednesday night, if he's not here for the kids, they say, "Where's Keoki? Where's Keoki?" He just has a bond with those. Not that the Lord needs another lawyer. Sorry, Dennis, wherever you are. But you do have some gifts and talents regarding family counseling and family life that will be key in the time in which we live. And my counsel to both men would be to lean not unto your own understanding, but trust in your Heavenly Father, and He will direct your paths. He needs to be your source of direction.
Thank you, John. Julie?
Yeah, I just have to share about Keoki also. First time I saw him, it was after service back at the center, and I was at one end, and he was up talking, I think, to you, and I just felt such a power and authority coming from him. And I went over to Mark and I said, what priesthood office is he in? And he says he's not. And I think I said it. He should be. It's just all over you. You know.
It's all over you.
Yeah, it is. And the wonderful thing that I have to say about both, I mean, they're both humble followers of Christ, and that's what we need. And I know the Lord will bless both of your work, and I'm just so all for it. And I'm grateful the time has come, because I knew it then. I knew when I laid eyes on you. It just came out there, so you can't hide it. Thanks.
Anybody else this morning? Sherry?
I just wanted to say the same thing, Kiyoki. It's a feeling. I think we meet you, and you just feel it radiates from you. And at one potluck, we were sitting back here, and Brian and I, and just the three of us, we talk, you know. And I was so impressed, and Brian and I always discuss things like on the way home, and Brian said he's quite the young man, and I said, and I said, yes, he is. I said, there's something about him. Well, I knew what it was, but I said, there's something about him. I said, you don't see that in young men. You know, you're our children's age. I call you a young man because we're old. But, you know, I said that you carry. You don't find that anymore very often. So Brian and I knew, you know, for a long time. So, and we're still very impressed with you. And for him to say that, that's a great thing. So.
Anybody else this morning? Janice?
I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what's going on, but I knew his mother, and he has to be a good boy, knowing his mother. I know he's perfectly all right. I recommend him for anything, including the President of the United States of America, and that's because I knew his mother.
Well, that's a testimony, and there are so many other comments regarding the President of the United States that we could run off with, but very good. Who else do we have this morning? Anybody else would like to share? Yeah, Paul?
I'm going to make it quick. Jerry, I've known you for many years, and your dad and your mother. I'm looking forward to seeing those bright suits now that your dad used to wear. And Kyoki, I have a lot of things about you. I mean, I just, from the beginning, and when I give my prayer and testimony, you say, oh, I had something to say, but I didn't know if I wanted to get up and say it, because all you got to do is get up and say what's on your heart. And look where you are. I'm so proud of both you guys. Keep up the good work, and can't wait to hear your ministry. Thank you.
Good. Anybody else? So seeing none, or if you want to just raise your hand, you know, the way this works is as the calls are initiated, they flow through the presiding elder, or the pastor, I guess, but I use the term presiding elder. And what happens is, though, it's kind of a unique process. One of the things I've been truly blessed with over the years is the spirit of discernment, many times. And to be able to see, you know, Jerry's growth, you know, he did I would call it a simple concordance to the scriptures by hand, even though you could have went to the bookstore and probably bought one, but you needed to verify your scriptures, like you said yourself. But also the growth, and the Lord bore testimony to me, and many times I've been blessed with the ability to know quite a while before a confirmation is given. One of the things I will normally and for always do is wait for a confirming conversation. It might be with anybody, about anybody. Same thing happened with TJ. You know, the call was there, but it had to happen in a way that the Lord knows how to work with me to bear a strong positive testimony. Because while there was wonderful things said this morning about each of you, remain humble. I thought John said it right, because that's all I can tell you. It's remain humble, and you will be able to walk in the way that the Lord has asked you to walk. Pride will get you off on your own, and you'll reap what you sow. And that's always my concern all the years I've been a presiding elder at the branches I've been at, is the call is at the right time, the right place, because the worst thing that could happen is a call would be accepted and then you fall off the path. And I pray for your souls every day. So, any other comments, questions, thoughts regarding that? Okay, hearing none. I'd like to vote for both of them at the same time, if everybody's okay with that. Do we see any reason not to? Sounds like everybody's pretty positive. So there's a motion. I would need a motion to vote for Jerry to the office of deacon and Keoki to the office of priest.
I so move that we have a vote to sustain it all. I move that we have a vote to sustain these gentlemen in these callings and to move forward with the ordination process.
Okay, I would need a second. Paul Martinez seconds the motion. All in favor, show of right hand or left hand. I guess either one would work. All right, very good. Well, you guys could have voted for yourselves too, by the way, just so you know. You could have voted for Jerry. Jerry could have voted for you. Well, congratulations. You know, it's always a blessing when we as a people listen to the Lord. And that's the greatest thing about it, is that we listen to the Lord and we recognize the ministry and the opportunities that are before us. So, that all being said and done, we'll close the special business meeting on 5/22/22. You guys remember that date forever. All right, business meeting closed. 10:10. So, you can stay for a little class, you could go, whatever you'd like to do.